technical details, and while I'm figuring it out, have a blanket today. You can use any blanket. I'm assuming because it's wintertime, we all have blankets lying around. Okay. The blanket is important for a few different reasons, but also let me know you're here. Hey, Julie, I'm so happy you're here. Sometimes I don't always, hi, Hope, catch your comments. But if you're here, hello, hello, hello. Happy new moon. We are in this moment as I record this, in this very sweet moment that some astrologers call the sweetest alignment possible in astrological terms, where Venus is conjunct Jupiter. But I want to honor the people that I listen to and study through and with, Ann Ortley and Rick Levine specifically. There's an encouragement not to look at good or bad. And I believe that if you are familiar at all with the Shiva or Shakti traditions of expansion or contraction or quantum physics or whatever realm you look at, or just even physiological understanding, that we need both the contraction and the expansion. And believe it or not, it's in our solar system, it's in our bodies too. And making the connection today is really about recognizing how much is connected. So when I was in grad school for counseling, mental health counseling, because that's part of my story, there is marriage and family systems therapy, right? I think if you've ever been part of a family, you've probably heard about family systems, or maybe you have even seen a marriage and family therapist. There's a lot of different theories that people study and teach from: cognitive behavior, solutions-oriented therapy. There's family systems that understands that we're all part of a system. There's also internal family systems that looks at the inner world, and that we have different layers and different aspects to ourselves. And we can understand more of our inner world when we look at these systems. This is a very fundamental part of the system in which I show up for to share with you guys. So this is part of the reason why I'm making the connection. And so for me, being the person that I am, we have to go even bigger. So it's really important as yoga practitioners that we understand our inner system, okay? That being a practitioner of yoga, a practitioner of therapy or counseling, a practitioner of therapy, of counseling, a practitioner of awareness, of mindfulness, hello, and a practitioner of astrology, that we also recognize that we are in a system of humanity, and that system of humanity has us living here on Earth, that we are a result of our systemic structure, but we're also part of a solar system, right? So go big, because yes, Sarah, as you noticed, it is a new moon, and we're part of a solar system: Earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then thankfully we invented telescopes to then later add in the parts and pieces of Uranus, Neptune, and the dwarf planet Pluto. That's as far as I go, because that's the system we're in. And what happens is that we continue to expand our knowledge, right? We continue to expand our perspective. I think everybody here can share that what they know now is different than what they knew 10 years ago. And but that's part of the experience you've had with the system that you're a part of in your own being and body, as well as your family, your job, your community, and just the globe and the world as a whole, right? So I can tell you even that 10 years ago, let's see, that was 2011, I was in a rapid change of my life and my environment. And one of those things was I was working and teaching and helping the wellness program at Yum Brands and Papa John's, and I walked away from it all. But both of those companies are very different now, present day, than they were 10 years ago. So with that being said, I've just shared a huge download of things to contemplate, but we want to make the connection with the intellect and the heart, because I'm going to teach you from the concepts of understanding the intellect and the heart, and I'm going to come to you from the system of not just the esoteric language of yoga and our physiological components of moving our bodies so we can become more conscious, the system of being given that wonderful gift of making the unconscious conscious, but also this language of Aquarian energy and Leo energy, which is actually about opposition. And the reason why I bring up Leo energy is forget the bias you have around sun signs and astrology and is it good or bad? Because we have to let go of this idea of good or bad. We can actually discover that there are gifts. Hi, Diane. We're all given gifts, but we're also all given challenges. And in the skies right now, part of that system that we are a part of, the moon, that reflects our energy back to us, the sun, that just radiates its brilliance, Mercury, that travel. I think, Perry, you said the weather has you home. I just spoke to my brother and his car is broken down. Mercury, that affects travel and communication and the way our mind processes. And Venus, what we love and what we appreciate. Jupiter, what is the benevolence and our dreams and our sense of spirituality and expansion. And Saturn, which is our limitations on our lessons and our challenges and the structure of our earthly realm, are all in the fixed energy of intellect and big picture and out of the box, as well as it's all being challenged by our motivation and our drive and our direction, Mars, as well as Uranus, which is all Aquarian concepts, okay? It's the modern day ruler of Aquarius. The traditional ruler is Saturn. So it's about breaking ground and really seeking out freedom. And both of these planets are in Taurus, which doesn't like change and likes things to be very simple, structured, and built. So we have to bring in Leo energy to understand how to bring the fire to our hearts. So we're going to start. And we're going to start with a blanket folded or something under our hearts. And we're going to really connect to this idea of the upper palate, the thoracic, and the lumbar, the vertical line, because this is the line of, all things, yoga, religion, we talk about ascension and trying to rise up. And we can never get there, right? Think about it. Think of all the billions of dollars that are spent in space technology. NASA is spending crazy amount of money so that maybe one day we can live on Mars. Mars is really hot. I don't think I'm really built to be a Martian. So anyhow, we're always trying to go high, But I want us to kind of ground down though into this material realm, into the moment that we're in right now, so we can really encourage thinking outside of the box. If we can bring the intellect, which is Aquarian energy, to the heart, which is Leo energy, which is the royalness of our mind and our intellect and how we're all connected, and make that connection here in this virtual realm, because isn't it crazy that we're doing yoga like this right now? I want to tell you all that my Aquarian playlist is still on Spotify if you want to remember that moment. It's really, I feel like it was my Peace Out, one of the greatest classes I taught, where we just rocked it. That playlist is there if you want to remember that, but we have to think forward. So the vertical, so we can not just ascend, but descend, that we can bring grace down, because right now we're in this really place of expanding our desires, of expanding our benevolence, of waking up to that beauty of our heart. And, you know, I don't think Einstein's ideas were popular when he brought them forward. I don't know that even everybody loved the internet when the internet first showed up, and it's changed, okay? So we're gonna make the connection of the intellect and how when we start, and yes, it's a new moon, so yes, I'm gonna lean into the system of our energy is low because we're restoring. The moon and the sun, which are the luminaries that reflect light back onto our earth, are sitting together in the sky right now. And when that happens, mankind has always looked at it as a time to plant seeds. It's literally a time to plant. We have the Chinese New Year because it's the midpoint. It is the midpoint between winter and spring. It's the first moon in this place of moving forward. So there's so much significance. And you might not be Chinese, and we're not appropriating their culture. We're actually respecting that from the vantage point that we're humans on the map. So if you don't know who I am Teresa Phelps Martin. You want to have a blanket. We're gonna bring this blanket into a place. Anybody else have dead stink bugs? You're gonna bring this blanket into this place of behind the heart. If you don't have a blanket, you can use a pillow. I just want a little lift, a little opening, not to flare the rib cage apart, but to really breathe in to the desires of our heart and let the mind connect into this inner world and this inner realm, and not get caught up if it's good or if it's bad. Because anything we do that helps us breathe more fully and supports the lungs and supports our ability to communicate our ideas, especially when they're anchored in the consciousness of our heart, there's no way you can lose. Okay? And I think you're here because you're choosing to live. We're going to start with our knees bent. We're going to call on the highest. Oops. And it's not down below, okay? It's up above. And as we call on the highest, oh, this is really intense for me. We're going to invite that acknowledgement of our own inner agency and authority. To know if this is too much, move the blanket out of the way. Arms are wide, breath is full. And what we're doing is breathing into the back body, breathing into the bigger picture, breathing into the remembrance that we're not alone. And rather than directing the breath, I want you just to feel held and supported in the community of this virtual connection, the in-person connections that we've had at some point, that we are all connected. So even if you and I haven't ever met in person, something connected you to this moment, to this practice. So you're going to breathe into that. breaths. And just listening to the breath, listening to where it wants to go, listening to the resistance. And then choosing that connection of your values, that give boundaries and structure to your ability to experience this life. As you exhale, exhale out completely. You're gonna bring your feet closer, lift your hips up and slide your shoulders back so your hips come up, and whatever support you have, you're gonna bring that support under your hips, okay? You're gonna feel the interruptions that show up, that break the connection. And so we get to choose, what do we want to connect back to? The franticness or the moment we're in? The breath? Now we have just a little support. You can always use your hands. I want your thigh bones to be really heavy here. Your feet are going to pick up, and you're just going to circle your ankles and wiggle your toes out. Okay? And move it around. And just feel the change of blood flow. Keep the left knee bent. Draw the belly in. Your shoulders can draw in slightly, but keep these ribs in. And then extend the right foot up. The leg may or may not straighten, okay? Like my leg is shaking right now. You're gonna flex your foot and imagine I'm helping you, or you can imagine your angels. You can call in Venus and Jupiter, those guides that are there for us, and the greater system of our humanness, to plug the thigh bone into the hip socket. Relax the jaw, soften the forehead. We're just helping to oxygenate the brain right now so the mind can be more present. Big breath in and a big breath out. And then bend the right knee, and you're just gonna extend through the left leg. Again, flex the foot. Oh my gosh, flex the foot. Pull the thigh bone in, draw into the belly. For all my walking friends, or if you went out in the weather and you've had to dodge the slippery slope of our earth here in Louisville. Right now, be aware of that. Enjoy your breath, the connection. Notice how you're tensing up in different areas, and then bend the knee. Both feet are going to come back to the earth. You're going to lift your hips up, move the blanket off to the side, or whatever support. If you don't have support, it's okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down. So you're going to curl your tail up. You're going to lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. I want you just to pay attention to the neck and the heart and the low back. You're going to come all the way down. You're going to tilt your pelvis so your pubic bone gets heavy. And then you're going to pull into the belly, into the back. Okay, so your heart's pushing down. Your chin is going to come into your chest. So this is not a traditional yogic bridge. Yes, this is more Pilates, but it's to help the articulation of the spine, to get into those little tiny parts. We're going to do a total of 5 times. So tailbone curls, this would be number 2, going up. Really pull into the belly. You're not trying to thrust your hips up. And then vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down. But massaging and helping the nervous system. Because when we have all this energy and the air sign, and then there's even this other cool thing where the photon belt, you can look it up in any NASA or astronomical information. We're moving through a belt, the universe is right now, our solar system is right now, That's really amazing. That's like a luminary energy pull into the belly. And so we really want to tend to our nervous systems. I know you're probably thinking I'm totally going off the deep end, but guess what, you guys? I've always been fascinated by the sky. My kid's room is covered in stars and planets and solar systems because that's the meeting point. That's the connection point for my husband and I, big time. Pubic bone pulls in. My grandfather was a scientist. It's in my blood, okay? I actually thought my grandfather was Albert Einstein. Rib cage comes down because he was a scientist. Slowly. We have one more time. So we're just helping our nervous systems. We're helping our spine because that energy of Leo rules the heart and the spine. The energy of Aquarius is the nervous system. Here's the connection of the intellect and the heart rising up. And so we're just experiencing this astrology and these wisdom traditions through embodiment. Come all the way down, release, draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug, relax the neck, relax the jaw, and then you can only imagine where we're headed. So don't undermine that imagination. Right ankle to the left thigh. No hands if possible. Keep the head on the ground. Ribs are in, core is in. You're going to move from side to side to get into those hips. And then come back through the center. Foot comes to the earth. Both knees come in. Lift the feet back up off the floor. Left ankle crosses over to the right thigh. And so when we have a lot of agitation, right? Weather warnings, concerns, we get very caught up in our heads. Or maybe you're just very heady anyways, very intellectual anyways. You're always in your mind. So we need to get the energy to ground, and that's what we're doing right now. We're making the connection to the mind and to the heart and letting the body be the vessel to ground us back into a sense of security, even though we may be resistant to change. And then exhale. Both feet come to the floor. This is what I call Starfish Pose. You're going to stretch your legs out wide, wider than your mat, okay? You're going to be that 5-pointed star on the ground. Stretch your arms up wide. 5 breaths here. Right? We're not trying to thrust the tailbone up. We're feeling the connection. And as we're pulling inward, arm bones are plugging in, thigh bones are plugging in, cores, and we're also extending out. Move the head around and just feel yourself on the earth, grounded, awake, alive, connected to your breath, breathing more deeply. Because what we're doing is we're tending to the soil of our soul, of our self, to plant the seeds, to plant the intention, to have a practical perspective, which I'll share in the new moon story that's going to come this afternoon. Bend your knees, draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug, rock and roll from side to side, make little circles with your knees, so that lumbar spine. So we've cared for the cervical, we've gotten into the thoracic, and now we're in the lumbar, okay? And then you're gonna roll to one side, stretch your legs out, roll all the way to your belly. So for those of you who've done yoga with me in the past few years, you know I live for these practices where we start on the ground. They're really hard to do virtually, except for it's wintertime, so it's a little bit easier. Okay, come to Sphinx pose. Yes, we're going to wake our core up because we have to get fatter. We're getting into the lower chamber of the heart. Okay, you can bend the knees to really make sure you're present. Your armpits are over your elbows. Soften the area in the shoulders. Relax through the neck and jaw. Lift into the core. So you're going to look into the back body. Really pull the rib cage towards the belly button. I don't want you to push your pubic bone to the floor, but I do want you to hug your legs towards the center. Lift the inner thighs. You may have to walk your knees in. I do. And then you're just going to come here into this knee down forearm plank. Clear up through the neck and jaw. Keep the energy engaged. Big deep breath in and a big deep breath out. Now what we're gonna do, this might be a little intense, so realize that you're here, your knees are on the ground. You're gonna push your hands, lift your elbows up, and then bring your elbows back down to the earth. I know, a little crazy. Push your hands, draw to the core. Just stay in the forearm prep if it's too much. And then as you're there, I want you to notice if we're doing it 5 times. 5 is the key number today. What's going on? Can you get your elbows to lift up at the same rate they come back to the earth? Where do I come up with these things? I take all the systems. I take the systems of the stars. I take the systems of yoga. I take the systems of therapy. And I take the systems of meditation and mindfulness and all those things. And they come to this. And last side. Oh my gosh. Now if your elbows are on the ground, you're just going to walk your hands in. If your elbows are off the ground, you're just going to walk your hands in. Tuck your toes. Find your fingertips. Get the dome of the hand to lift. Wrist, elbow, armpit. Draw into your core, your pubic bone stretching back towards, your pelvic floor. So your pubic bone, your inner groins, and your tailbone, the diamond of the pelvic floor, is stretching back towards the arches of your feet. Lift into the belly, lift through the ribs. Now the heart, there's a split. Through the thoracic, there's the energy that goes down towards your hips. And there's also the energy that extends up through the neck, through the roof of the mouth. 5 breaths here. It's hard to hold it, yes? As you exhale out completely, you're going to roll your spine up so you're standing on your knees. You can untuck the toes if you like. Hands come to your hips. Squeeze into your hips and you can feel these trochanters rolling inward. Draw into the belly, thighs are going back. And then anchor your outer hips down, your tail down. Your feet might be apart. I'm keeping my feet together. Draw those ribs in and then feel this split. We want to connect the intellect to the heart. The roots of the heart are anchoring down and the rest of the heart is radiating out. And in that radiance, we want to lift up through the neck. Lift up. If you want to bring your hands under your head, you can. Lift up through the neck. Open the heart up and breathe here. And as you're breathing, just feel this whole vertical line that was lying on the floor and is now vertical. 5 breaths. Lift from behind the heart, from the back body that we've woken up to. Hands come to the earth. Roll over the feet so you come into a standing forward bend at the back edge of your mat. Bend your knees, relax the neck and jaw. Allow for the breath, a clearing. Inhale, find length, open the heart up 5 times, okay? Wrap through the hips, exhale, bow down. Inhale, find length, and exhale, fold. Inhale, find length, and exhale, fold. Inhale, feel this expansion now, more on the horizon. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, opening up. And exhale, folding. You can roll the spine up or go through an extended spine. If you're rolling, you're really feeling this connection to the center line. Inhale the arms overhead. Stand tall here. I might have cut myself off, but feel yourself tall, connected, hands together or apart, and Connect to this vertical line. Feel the physical form. Call on your highest, and then bring it back to the heart, and then allow the heart to guide the witness. That's allowing this vision of your heart to expand, even though it may not be crystal clear. As you exhale, into the hips, all the way down to the earth. Climb your hands forward into plank. Find your plank, and then move it back, downward dog. Big deep breath in, and a big deep breath out. Feel the connection to your whole being, and be more connected to you. You're gonna exhale the right knee to the earth. Widen the right foot, left arm comes by the side of your ear, and then exhale the left hand down, spin the left heel up, move back, downward dog. We're just gonna pivot from side to side. Exhale the left knee to the earth, widen the foot, right foot goes down. So I'm not doing this fancy thing with my arm, I'm just reaching through that energy down towards the feet, out through the spine. Big inhale in. Exhale the hand down, heel spins, move it back, downward dog. Exhale, right knee to the earth, foot widens, connect. Feel those side lines, the expansion of our spine now being sideways on the earth. Exhale, moving from the core, not from the periphery. Feel the connection to you. You exhale to the earth, you inhale, and you feel the expansion. There's a fluidity as you make the connection to all the parts. Your mind is just helping you move and open. We're getting into the side body and feeling that dance of expansion and contraction. Spanda. The divine pulse to all things in life, even the solar system. Right, last time. And as you move back, downward dog, breathe here fully and completely. Slide your right knee to your right wrist, pigeon. Bend the knee, right hand's gonna reach back for your left foot. If you can't find the foot, you can be here. Big, full, deep breath in. Big, full, deep breath. Keep the thigh bones pulling in. Keep drawing that left knee towards the ground, pulling up and in. Believe it or not, I'm getting a more connected and cohesive experience not touching my foot. When I reach for my foot, I actually disconnect this energy right here. So be where you need to be. And then you're gonna free the left foot, roll over to the hip, and then you have to keep rolling, okay? You're gonna roll all the way over to the left leg, lean into the left hip, and bring the right knee up, adjust, left elbow, right knee, right hand behind you. Draw into the core, right? Tail anchors, low back moves in, thoracic is broad, and feel that lift up through the neck. Relax the jaw, use the core to twist. And then bring the right hand out, open the right knee up, turn the left foot in. I know I'm being super fancy after I slowed your nervous system. Bend that left knee, push into the earth, and inhale into side plank. Gotcha. Big full breath in, and then exhale back. Downward facing dog. Find your dog, make the connection to all of it. Creativity is in the flow because that's that place of inspiration, which is all the new moon is about. It's to make a choice of how you're going to engage with yourself internally. And in that internal engagement, the outer changes. We're not going to change the stars in the sky. Those are so consistent. Draw into the belly. And again, you're going to bend the back knee. Holy moly. And you can reach your hand for your foot, but once again, I'm not going to. I'm staying here. Because for me, it's more about making a connection to a joyous feeling in my body. And that is what motivates me in yoga, not being able to do big fancy poses. Don't get me wrong, big fancy poses are fun and they serve me very well at a time in my life. This serves me better in this time of my life. Exhale, free the foot down, lean over. So you don't want to get stuck. You want to be like, oh yeah, okay, where am I in this moment? Where's my spine? Where's my center axis? How can I then adjust to spin all the way around? So you're going to bring the left knee with you, lean over into the right hip, and then re-anchor. Connect. Is the sacrum, is the lumbar even, or is it tilted? From there, draw both sides of the waist back. Hold on, however you need to hold on, and then twist from that core line. I have a picture in my office. I'm not a big picture person, which is really funny because my moon is in Cancer, and photography is associated with water signs, especially photos of the family. But it's a picture of me from 1994. And I look at that young girl and she's so serious. And I didn't have all this information that I have now. And I'm so much happier now at 44 than I was in 1994. Anybody else with me on that one? Here we are, we're twisting. My twist is not big. I ain't cranking out wild expressions in the outer realm. I'm making the connection internally. So from here, the left arm stretches back behind us. We shift, whoop, right? It may not have been as graceful on this side for me. And then you push into the earth and come into side plank, right? You can do it however you need to. Vashisthasana. Vashisthasana is like Jupiter and Venus conjunct in the sky. Move back, downward dog. Big full breath in, big full breath out. Walk your feet forward on the mat. As we plant the seeds, as we tend to the soil, we allow for our inner structure to change so we can actually connect to the infrastructure of our lives. Bring the unconscious to a sense of consciousness by getting out of the box, of switching up our ways. Inhale, find length, open the heart. Exhale, heel toe the feet apart, as wide as you need to, and then exhale all the way into a squat. Palms come together, spine's long. Draw into that core, free through the head. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Not heavy in standing poses today for many reasons. Come all the way seated, you're full of grace. Venus is grace. Right leg goes forward, left leg's coming all the way over. So, knees are stacked the best they can. This foot can point back. Some people are advocators of flexing the foot so that the ankle doesn't drop. That can be really powerful as long as you're not undermining the inner conversation. That your mind isn't just saying you have to do it like this and you have to do it for everybody else. That's what we have to watch. That's where a lot of mental energy can be a challenge and not a gift. Or we can see the gift, that we can see the bigger picture and make the connection back to our own hearts and the intellect, and then breathe. So here we are. Find length in the spine. Keep the outer hips grounded. Lean forward. Maybe you find the foot, maybe not. Maybe you have gecko arms. And we're just clearing this whole back line in the right leg. If you feel tension behind your knee, bring one hand under the knee and then let the other hand find its support. 5 breaths here. And now what I want you to start doing is just inhaling up, exhaling down, or you can inhale down and exhale up. I want you to think of the domes of the body moving up and down, right? So the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, and the upper palate, they're all connected. Exhale out completely, lengthen the spine. Inhale all the way up. You're just gonna free the foot. Stretch both legs out in front of you. Find the legs. Tilt forward for the pubic bone. I like to walk sit bones back more than pull them back. Draw into the belly. Bend that right knee, cross it over. Knees are stacked. Hips are grounded. There's strength in the core. So what this practice is about is recognizing the overextended nervous systems and then grounding them into that ability to connect, but connect not just into the to-do list and the analyzing and the storyline of our life, but into the bomb, into the feeling of our physical being. So we come into the heart. We anchor the outer hips, we fill into this back line, we have extension, and we feel this heart moving back and the head moving back. The energy is moving back this way, even though we're bowing forward. And then we find the expression of the periphery, our arms and hands, in a way that supports the core. Not in the need to make ourselves look a certain way based on external standards, but rather really aligning with the authenticity, which is the truth, the energy of who we are. And the only way we can know the energy of who we are is if we make the connection to our inner system. And we remind ourselves that we're connected to something so phenomenal, like our universe traveling through this light belt that only happens every 24,000 years. Now that's crazy. The last time it happened were when the dinosaurs were around. I know, we're really crazy. Exhale out completely. Push your legs to the earth, draw them to the belly. Inhaling up. So allow your mind to be blown, right? Because the unpredictable is starting, the unexpected is starting to be expected. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. As you come up, stretch both legs out. Flex both feet. You have a choice. Remember we started with that blanket under our back. You can bring that blanket under your knees. It's just going to root your thighs back more. And once you come down, you're going to pull the thighs in, plug in. We have the curve in the low back, tail anchors, outer hips. We want to feel the expansion of the rays of the heart, the radiance of who we are, just shining, anchoring down, out to the sides and up, like that starfish we did on the ground. Thighs are grounded, leaning forward, not from the chin, but from the length of our head and bow. This is a way of restoring the agitation of our systems. My kids are screaming in the background, so you may hear it. My husband's home, so I'm not worried. Otherwise, I would be really worried. It's just the motherly nature of all beings everywhere. As you exhale, exhale out completely. Draw into the core, anchor to the earth, lengthen the spine. Inhale, come all the way up. Okay, good. You're going to come into a simple cross-legged pose. I'm not going to face you, sorry, because we're going to come from this pose to coming lying down. Now, if you do yoga straight up for the physical application, that means there's still a disconnect. And I'm not exactly sure why you'd be watching this. So what we want to do is we want to welcome in that wisdom. We want to really feel the container of that guidance. And by connecting inwardly to ourselves, we can connect to that bigger energy. So feeling right now just that horizontal plane, like take in your peripheral vision. You could even take your thumbs out to the side. I'm not a Kundalini person. I love their meditations, but not the yoga. But the thumbs, you can bring them forward. We'll just go here, okay? It came to me, I'll share it. Your thumbs are out in front of you, draw into the belly, and then move your arms out until you can't see both thumbs. Oh, that's really interesting. And then I want you to feel that horizontal line. Just bring them back to the center, draw into that core, and as you inhale, expand. So feel that horizontal plane expanding. As you exhale, draw it into the center. This time we're going to inhale. I want you to imagine you had extra arms, okay? Going down and also lifting the arms up. And then exhaling, the arms come down right in front of the heart, and then inhale, they go wide. Draw back into the center, inhaling them up overhead. Exhaling into the heart line, inhaling, going wide. We're working with the length of the spine. By the way, this is not easy for me. Maybe it is for you. Inhaling up. Breathing more into the back body. Exhaling down. Inhaling wide. Exhaling center. Inhaling tall and low, high and low. Exhaling center. Inhaling wide. Don't go, you got to still be able to see your thumbs in your periphery. Inhale, come back to the center. Gaze is soft. Move your awareness internally to the hridaya, the heart, the inner energy. Inhale wide. Come back to the center. Arms rise up. Come back in. Inhale wide. This time you're going to take your arms wide, up overhead, and bring your thumbs together. Woo! Breathing here, 5 breaths. Bring the palms together to the center of your forehead. 5 breaths here. Soften the shoulders. You're not hearing voices. My family is underneath me in the basement talking. Bring the hands to your own heart, fingers turned forward. Notice the areas of your body you're holding tension, and just ask for those areas to soften and release. Feel the warmth in your own hands. And simply opening your heart to receive the wisdom, the guidance, the intention. Not saying like, oh, how am I going to do it? But what is it you're welcoming in? Be clear in your boundaries that it's for the highest good, harm to none. That I can help you in this moment to breathe more deeply, or it can help you to see the big picture of your life and the evolution of your journey. a contribution you will make to humanity. And maybe that contribution is just being kind and considerate and offering grace. Or maybe you solve all the world's problems. Who knows? What we know right now is our truth of the moment, that we can receive the inhale and expand with it, and receive the exhale as we expand with it, and realizing how that expansion also creates a contraction, and we simply make the connection. And maybe we receive the symbols or the visions or the ideas, the creativity, because we connected to our body in a way that just cleared the inner system. So there was a more clear flow of energy. So that when we're ready to set in our intentions, we've prepared the soil to plant the seeds of our heart, and the trust and the knowing that it'll expand and flower, even if it means the world around you is in disharmony, like my environment. Allow the head to bow, and then allow your hands to come and rest on your heart or your shoulders or anywhere that you feel you need a settling of your system. 5 breaths here. And then through this effort, we will rest into the ease, making that connection. If you can, keep your eyes closed. If you have that extra support, utilize it. You're going to come lying down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Come all the way to the ground. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a gentle hug. Roll the head from side to side. If you need support under the neck, bring it under the neck. If you want that support on the vertical spine for your whole nervous system, go there. Don't underestimate how much our nervous systems need right now. A year ago, February 2020, we had 6 planets in an Earth sign. Now here we are a year later, and we have all these planets, including the moon and the sun, in an air sign. So come back to Earth with the energy above and make the connection of how you need support. Relax the jaw. Your arms, your head. Feel your hips and your shoulders, your spine and your heart. just as you are. Feel yourself breathing in and out. And as you breathe in and out, feel your own heart beating. Just as you are, making the connection of your inner world to your outer world. And receiving the breath. Both sides, the inhale and the exhale. Reawaken with a greater connection. Wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, swaying your head. Stretch your arms long. Release any side or sound or a big yawn. You're gonna bend your knees. Roll over to one side. If you can, have your feet come to the ground first. Knock over your water. And then slowly, when you're ready, stay there for as long as you like. Find that seat that serves you. And as you're seated, ground into the earth, connect to the heavens above, and then return that energy to your own heart. And as you return with the awareness of the world around you, and you reorient to the vision of your heart, that you feel that expansive connection to where you've been, to all the times you've been on your mat, all the many moments you've attempted to meditate, not for perfection, but for connection. Feel all the support out to your right side and your left side, all the other people that you can see sitting, whether it's in this virtual practice, whether it's live, whether it's in the replay, or in the memory or the vision. Make the connection. And see that light of your innermost self shining outward so that you can move forward with a stronger belief and trust, even though the path is not clear, that we are walking together. We are walking with the connection of the mind and the heart, that we can see the opposition and the polarity, but we can find the middle ground. Bring the hands together at your own heart center. That we can collectively be open to changing our ways, of continuing to let go of what was, and honoring the grief and the pain of what we had hoped for, but welcoming in the rearrangement and the reorder and the transformation of that energy so that our aspirations, and we feel that we can be together with that renaissance, with that new inspiration, and the ability to see things differently. Just as our practice is that shift in perspective, because we connect to our own innermost self through many different systems and modalities that unite us, our innermost being to the outermost expression, and that we can know all the stars shine for you, and that light will get brighter, believe it or not, when the things around us get darker. And so we don't curse the darkness, but we celebrate the light, grounded in our truth. And we welcome in this light by saying namaste, by saluting this moment that sits before us, honoring the light in our own inner world and the light that's around us. Namaste. I appreciate each of you so very much. And I know we're sometimes feel like we're walking through a foggy notion, but don't undermine, right? If anybody's a Velvet Underground fan, listen to that Foggy Notion song, because I don't think that Benjamin Franklin, I don't think any of our forefathers, I don't think anybody really knew what they were doing. They just knew to do it. Even this book I'm reading validated part of the reason why I got frustrated with grad school and evidence-based practices is because there's no way we can be objective when we're subjective. All research comes from a deeper interest and a personal bias of understanding something more fully. So I hope this practice just helps you understand yourself more fully and trust your brilliance, and that even if it sounds outlandish, the most out-of-the-box idea may not formulate for some time, but we can be eccentric, and knowing that our essence is available to us if we're willing to connect. So I hope you can keep making the connection to you. I appreciate the connections you offer me, and I will continue to show up at 10 o'clock until all systems collapse. And I will be posting a Aquarius new moon energy. Wow, that's so funny. Okay. I'm so glad, Hope. You know what, you guys, I'm always happy that you make the connections and that you can find your way here. Oh, good, Sarah, releasing that tension. So if you remember, Sarah, you did the immersion with me. When we have this this gripping in our beings, we don't have to always pull back all the layers and unpack. You probably know part of what that tension is associated with. But what we want to do is release. And new moon energy is actually really this continuation of surrendering. So, oh, look at you, Pat. Hopefully this was good for you. Hopefully. Oh, I'm so happy you made it. But if we can settle our system, our bodies trust more, okay? Namaste, Martha. That our bodies can feel that ability to know that it's safe to let go of the gripping. Oh, Julie, thank you guys. I love it. I can't tell you how taking all these systems, I had somebody recently tell me, I originally called myself a yoga counseling coach, and then I had somebody tell me like, oh, that's confusing. And then somebody was like, I love yoga counseling coach. It's really bringing in all these tools that I can counsel. And I enjoy your all's counsel too, by the way. This is not one-sided. And using yoga from that modality of awareness, of bringing the unconscious to our conscious, so that we can then have a subconscious connection, and that subconscious connection is that connection to the bigger system. So I'll try to find the information on the really kind of out there quantum concept of this belt that we're traveling through, but we're all traveling through it together as if, and I will see you soon. I could ramble for a while. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you more than you realize. Ciao.